You're now reacting to the 5-member girl group FX, and first you'll be reacting to their B-side called Kick, released on their full-length album Pink Tape in 2013. The title Kick refers to the kicking motion of riding a skateboard. Just like you kick to keep the skateboard going, you have to kick to keep pushing forward in life. The song is composed by Hitchhiker. I know, right? Isn't it amazing?
Be true, though.
Is your mind blown?
That just sounds like something that James would say after we watched the video.
I'm just gonna say this before we start. I might have a negative opinion of this group solely because I spent 3 hours doing calculus yesterday, and you wanna know what it all was? F prime of X. And then you have to plug it into a computer, which Okay, I'm done ranting.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
ahead.
It took me so long.
Henry, you wanna put your headphones on?
F prime X. Ooh, that's
This
nice.
is a really
That's
cool
nice.
dance beat, man. I'm digging all the effects.
That's such an interesting combination of rhythms. Like all the different backing instruments are in a different rhythm and they're all such different timbres. It just sounds like wild.
Has everything been on one note?
It is now.
It seems like, okay, so it seems like the bass is like sliding up from the bottom, like boom, 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 and then there's like that little squeaky thing at the top that's like beep, 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 beep. So it's like the two slides are like meeting each other.
Yeah, all over the place. There's things that are just kind of and also
Ooh, texture change.
That's a major. That's nice.
They really like pushing that like chromatic up.
Ooh, okay, I like that going into the chorus. I like when they take a rhythm and they just kind of, or they take somebody singing something and then they like edit it to be rhythmic. That's super cool.
It's so chaotic. Yeah. Oh my goodness. There's some microtones on there going on.
And even like here, she's holding one pitch for all of the words and accenting those words rhythmically as opposed to it being melodic. So it really feels like the focus is more on rhythm here.
Definitely, yeah. And the entire harmonic content of it is mostly just pentatonic, so it's not going anywhere.
Okay, I like the text. I feel like a bird flying. And the texture is like that.
I kind of wish they did a different section here. Like instead of repeating some older material.
Yeah.
Although they might do something different, but it was a good opportunity.
But it was still a really good song.
Okay, yeah, this is very different. It's like
very like non-tonal.
Wow. This is almost like pitchless.
But
there's like almost
keyboard.
no like harmonic or like melodic sense of like a center. Wow.
Yeah, we like went to outer space. We got abducted by aliens for a sec.
This is like a song where it's like it goes on. It's like, all right, I'm about to throw down my dance move. Here we go, gonna have a good time.
Even
It just
here,
keeps going.
the only thing that we hear that's like pitched registerly is like, but everything else is just, wow.
They don't need it because they're just like,
Wow. Okay, there's a lot to talk about here.
There's just a lot going on. The accompanying texture was so thick. Like there was a lot of synthesizers happening, a lot of different polyrhythms happening, and a lot of different different rhythms happening with different instruments or timbres. So like it didn't sound so much like, oh, I can hear the bass, I can hear the melodic instrument. Like it sounded like this sort of clump of a soundscape, I think, which provides a really good backing track for this sort of like aggressive shouting and rhythmic singing, which is definitely what they were doing by repeating words, by editing words that they sing to have like a rhythmic aspect, and repeating things a lot, and then focusing on maybe singing on one tone or maybe only 2 tones.
Having so many different weaving things that go on like rhythmically, because there's the bump, ba-dum, bump, ba-dum, bump. And there was also even, I think, a polymeter of like a 3/8 ta 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 ta, which and then all of that was just nuts. But I think what was cool about it is because there's so many different divisions of the measure, but because of divisions of the measure, they all come together and give a really big punch on like a downbeat that happens every once in a while. So that gives it a lot of that.
So the farther you go on a skateboard,
oh my God, stop.
The farther we go in society. In life, you just need to find the skateboard in yourself, and you just need to keep going. Don't fall down.
Couldn't have said it better. I liked it. Usually, like Melissa so gracefully pointed out, I like to like go into the deep like meanings of things.
Sorry.
No, but I know you're fine. You're totally fine. I usually like dive deeper into meanings when it's not necessarily all that clear, when it's sort of like hidden away. But for this, I appreciate it because there's meaning, but it's pretty clear cut. They're like skateboard, like just like keep
go
on
forward.
Yeah, like literally just keep on pushing. And especially there was one line, it was like I wear my scars like accessories or something. I was like, that's like a very cool idea. Like I've got scars, but like they've made me like a better person. I thought that was a pretty cool sentiment, and I just like how open and overt they were about it.
That was like, this repeats, but now it has a drum. This repeats, but now it has a drum and a siren. This repeat, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh.
I'm surprised mostly that this is also another girl group that we've seen, and I know like this might be a gendered expectation, but generally as we've seen in K-pop, like when like girl groups sing, it's mostly like very melodic, lush, harmonic, maybe not lush, but it's like they obviously draw on these like certain gender trope that it's like, oh, this is like a girl group singing. It's like identifiably, even from like a musical texture, kind of like a sampling point of view, that this is like a girl group singing. The song that we just heard was like literally from the start so percussive and almost aggressive to the point where it's like, to me, reminded me of like the boy groups that we've heard that have like these over masculinized sounds, where like these sounds are kind of punched in a way where even the pitch becomes drawn out. And there's not even much of like, maybe what we would consider like a registerable tonal center or like a tonal framework. I thought that was crazy, maybe in some ways. I don't know if this is like a call to like maybe FX's way of like bending gender norms or something in a way where like, they're like through sound, they're like, we are also gonna execute the same types of sounds as like the males are allocated. And it's just so, I mean, just so like texturally interesting. There's so many things where it's like, so many different types of sounds that were not pitched, but then there'd be like a rising, bending kind of chromatic that goes up and down.
Okay, you'll be comparing Kick to a song released on the same album as it called Pretty Girl.
Sweet.
The lyrics of Pretty Girl are fairy tale-esque. The members represent an ugly witch who is jealous of the beautiful princess who glides through life on her looks. But instead of wanting to be the pretty girl, the song says, there's a lot of girls like you, you're boring. The song is composed by Hyukshin, DK, 2XXXX! John Major, Shell Hill, and Jasmine Gross.
F prime X.
I like this.
This is very like,
ooh,
oh, this is
bass.
right up your alley. Yeah.
What do you mean this is right up my alley?
Bro, like the dubstep influence, like it just, you know, like it's intense.
That's just so interesting because like the guitar is really loud, so when it hits, it's like really, it stands out. Oh.
That is not the drop I was expecting.
Me neither, but this is still like a pre-chorus, right?
But she's right, it's very fairy tale-esque. Fairy tale.
That's my favorite pre-chorus. That was so cool.
This is the same kind of clump of sound I was talking about in the last one.
Yeah, it is like bombastic. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, it's just like very thick. Like there's a lot of different notes with resonance and like overtones, so it just sounds really dense.
It's also all mixed pretty centrally. Is that a word?
Yeah, that's really nice. Chorus is really effective. I like that a lot.
Oh, here. It's like a 3-2-1. 3-2-1, but then it doesn't resolve to 1. It resolves to like a flat 6 major chord or something.
Amber. Wait.
Oh gosh, that did not rhyme.
Hey.
Ooh. Oh, I like that. What a contrapuntal movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And the focus on it.
I feel like they're using a lot more direct harmonies in this, like layered on
It's
top
like
of each
similar
other,
version.
and I like it.
Wow, was it in both major and minor just now? That's really weird.
I'm trying to figure out what mode they're using in that. Da 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 da. It felt like Phrygian, but also with having the tonic in the bass, it still felt major. It's weird.
Just kidding, it's not a flat 6 major, it's a minor chord.
That's really cute. It's got a lot of shoutability factor, you know,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
for sure.
you can really shout along to the chorus in a concert, like pretty girl, hey, pretty, like you sing all the lyrics in there. But I really like the harmonies they did. It was like a nice little. I don't think there was like counterpoint. I don't think it did like crazy motions. I think they did like probably just a similar parallel motion on some of those.
They had a lot more
verses.
parallel
But they
harmonies in
did
this
close
one.
harmony. Yeah, they didn't do like crazy a sixth above.
Yeah.
With like a different kind of register. They all kind of had like a similar vocal register, close harmony, like thirds or like 1-3-5 kind of triad movement, which has had a really nice like whole huggy sound.
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, it just reminded me a lot of 2000. Like 2000 to 2010.
my God.
It's a lot of things are just washed. Well, as I explained in the video, it's very vast, very spread out, and it works because that's the main focus. So you're not so concerned about the crispness of the edges, but you're just thinking, oh, like it's so nice.
Oh,
and
I
spread
totally
out.
heard Christmas of the end. I noticed at the end that it was atonal. Was it atonal the entire time? I don't think so. I think it was in tone, and then the last pretty girl just went like just went off the deep end.
I think that was just the tuning, just bringing it down by mastering.
Well, the very end, yeah, it
very
sort
end.
of, yeah. But even before that, there were
wavelengths.
non-diatonic tones. My favorite part was definitely Amber's rap, because my goodness, I wish it was a whole section. It felt like half a section, from what I heard. I understand that it's a B-side, but it kind of is in the same vein as Kick. So maybe, you know, for people who like the album, this is definitely a good B-side because it's more of what they heard from Kick, but it's not for me.
Is this like indicative of what their style is like?
I think so.
Because I feel like that really dense accompanying texture, that was present through both of the songs. So their voices just kind of floated over this like massive texture. So it just feels, it's so hard to put that feeling into words, I think. Like,
because there's a lot of different sounds that also feel huge.
it just feels like it's it's happening in a big room, I think is the best way to describe it. You don't feel like you're listening on headphones, you know?
I think I preferred Kick.
Yeah, me too.
Pretty Girl was too much for my brain to handle, I think. I just couldn't figure it out.
The chorus was pretty nice on this one.
Dude, yeah, I'll be totally honest.
Real nice.
So I thought Kick was great, but I loved Pretty Girl. I thought the chorus, man, that sold me. Like, it was the melody line just like soaring, like after all of that, like building up, and also like the angsty, emotional nature of the song and what they're talking about. I like will try to listen to this song after this and put it on my playlist.
Yeah, could you imagine if you walk to school with that song every morning? Like, man,
it's empowering, man. Totally. I feel like it's totally empowering.
You
like,
get so much done. You might look like a jerk walking down the street, like with all the explosions going on.
I like Pretty Girl more, definitely.
Wow, really?
Yeah, there's so much more going on.
What? I don't agree.
I was more enthralled.
I liked the other one, the first one, because it was just so interesting. There's just so much like to be explored in terms of like performative standpoint, you know?
It like started strong and then nothing changed for the rest of the 3 minutes.
It was so interesting to me.
Okay.
But I did like this too. It doesn't mean that this does not come into my heart.
You're just such a pretty girl, and I can't look at you. It's my time to shine.
You know what? I'm okay with being the pretty girl in this narrative because I was never considered pretty or good looking. So I'll take that happily and be pushed to the side. I don't need to be the main character. I just need to be pretty.
You're too pretty to be cool. Bye.
Yeah, the one we listened 3 seconds ago. Yeah.